Looking at our world from a theological perspective. This is the Theology Central Podcast, making theology central.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is Sunday, July the 18th, 2021. It is currently 3:49 p.m. Central Time, and I'm coming to you live from the sanctuary of Victory Baptist Church, located right here in the middle of nowhere, Texas. And I have a question for you. Have we lost our minds? Has the world gone completely mad? What is going on? Now, we are going to explore this, have we lost our mind, by looking at something that happened, I guess maybe earlier today. I don't have the timestamp here in front of me, but there was a riot that took place, and it sounds like it got violent. I don't know if anyone was injured, but a riot took place, and when you hear what they're rioting about, well, you may start asking yourself, have we lost our minds? But before I tell you about the riot, before I tell you what they're rioting about, before I tell you about the original incident that sparked all of this, before I tell you about what's going on, and before we try to even answer this question, have we lost our mind? I do need to offer a very, very strong warning here. We're going to be talking about an incident that I'm going to have to describe, I think, in somewhat graphic details. I think I'm going to have to give some of the details here, because if I don't give the details, then put it this way. If I don't give you the reality of the situation, then is it possible for you to answer the question, have we lost our mind? I think seeing the reality of the situation may make you take a step back going, okay, we've lost our mind, right? I think you need to hear the reality of the situation. So if you have children around, this is not the episode to listen to with them around. You may want to put in headphones, hit pause, and listen at a later time. I'm just giving you a warning. If you're easily offended, you may not want to listen to this, all right? Because, there's just no way I can talk about this incident without being somewhat graphic. I'm going to try my best I'm going to use as much tact as I can, but and in some ways, I wish I didn't even have to use any tact, because it's the reality of the world in which you live, right? It's what's going on in the world, and you need to know what's going on in the world in which you live, because maybe you need to be shocked out of your complacency, and maybe you need to be, I think all of us need to be shocked out of our complacency so that we are moved to call out to God for mercy, to have mercy upon our country, and to wake up the church so that we'll get back to doing what we're called to do. And again, not trying to resolve these problems with a culture war, but trying to resolve these problems through prayer, fasting, spiritual war, presenting the gospel to people, and that type of thing. But I'm telling you, things are crazy. All right. So right now, I don't know if you've seen the news. I don't know if you've seen what happened, but let me give you some information. All right. This may have occurred yesterday. Yes, the riot took place yesterday, okay? So just make sure that we understand this. I told you I didn't have a timestamp, but now looking at this, I see the timestamp, because the article I'm looking at was published at 1:56 a.m. So this happened yesterday. Here is the headline. Riot police break up dueling transgender right protest outside LA spa. So there's a protest, there's a riot happening, there's dueling protests, a riot breaks out, and this is all happening over transgender rights, and this is happening outside of an LA spa. Here's some basic information. Dueling anti-transgender right protest outside a Los Angeles spa. If I said spy, I apologize. Spa turned violent Saturday, resulting in projectiles thrown, cops firing rubber bullets, and more than a dozen arrests, according to a report. All right. Now, I'm not going to. We'll put it this way: the spa in Koreatown has been the site of clashes earlier this month during protest over a viral video. Now, I'm not going to tell you anything about the viral video right now. The spa is the WI Spa in Koreatown. All right. I don't, if that's the We Spa. I don't know exactly how it's pronounced, so I don't want to say it incorrectly. But it's the spa in Koreatown. There were clashes there earlier this month. There was some clashes there Saturday. So make sure we go through this. Projectiles were thrown. Cops fired rubber bullets. 12 people were arrested. And it's all this because of what happened inside the spa. Something happened inside this spa that sparked all of these protests. But what is crazy is people, and I want you to hear this, many of the people are not protesting. I want you to hear me carefully. Because of what happened in the spa, they're protesting because of someone's reaction to what happened. So let me try to break this down. Something happened in the spa. I'm assuming that most of the people listening to this is going to be shocked and say, we've lost our minds, right? But what a lot of people are upset about is not what happened. They're upset because someone saw it happen, they witnessed it, and they were like, this is unacceptable. Are you going to do anything about it? And people are like, how dare you? How dare you say this is unacceptable? How close-minded, judgmental bigot. What kind of bigot are you to be upset about this? And that may be the greater sign that we've lost our mind. It may not even be the original incident. It may be the fact that if you speak out against the original incident, supposedly something is wrong with you. Everything is turned upside down. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to leave this article, and I'm going to go to an article that was published. When was this published? Okay, give me a second here. It just opened up an ad. I had the New York Post open, and it's opening up ads, which I hate when they do that. All right, here we go. This was published on July the 15th, 2021. Now, when I originally saw the article, I thought about immediately packing up and coming here to the church and talking about it. But then I'm like, okay, how do I handle this? This is some pretty, trying to describe this could offend some people. What do I do? But so I'd set it aside and thought, do I put it back in my stack? Do I not put it back in my stack? But just about 15 minutes ago, see, I've been on the air 7 minutes ago, so maybe about 10 minutes ago, I was sitting here and I saw the news notification about this riot, these protests happening in front of this spa. And I'm like, wait a minute. I think that's the same spa that was in this other article that I saw on July the 15th. I'm like, okay, now wait a minute. Now I'm going to have to talk about it because now we actually have protest and violence and people getting arrested. We need to talk about it and put all of this together in one comprehensive report that I think will let everyone try to answer this question, have we lost our mind? All right, here is the headline for this article, again, posted Thursday, July the 15th, 2021. I don't know the time, and it was posted at thechristianpost.com. Headline, listen carefully, thinking caps on. Radical transgender activism is proof positive that we have lost our corporate minds. All right, now, according to the writer of this article, radical transgender activism is proof positive that we have lost our corporate minds. Now, when I read that, I'm like, okay, so this is on the Christian Post. We're going to be arguing, fighting against, these transgender activists who are out there trying to make some point. And I'm like, okay, it's probably going to be your standard kind of information that I've heard over and over and over. I'll at least take a look at it and just see, is there anything else going on in the world of radical transgender activism? Is it a new argument? What are they doing that's proof positive that we've lost our corporate minds? So I wanted to know. So here's what I read. Just think of the upside down world in which we live today. Women and girls are now. Here's how he's going to describe it. All right. So here's what the author wants you to do. Just think of the upside down world in which we live today. So he's just already making the declaration that our world is upside down. Now, what's his proof that the world is upside down? Here we go. Women and girls are relaxing in a California spa. When a man walks in, no clothes and fully exposed. The man is nude. The man has no clothes on. He walks into a spa. Women and girls are just relaxing. He has no clothes on, nothing. He does so in full view of these mothers and daughters. Yet when a complaint is issued in the spa, listen, so yet when a complaint is issued, the SPA, along with the editorial board of the Los Angeles Times editorial board, defend the man. Do we need any more proof that we have lost our corporate mind? So here are these women and a spa. They're relaxing. Here comes walking in a man in where the women are, right? Fully exposed, clearly a man, right? And I think you know what I mean by that. Clearly, he has the parts that would demonstrate his, manhood, and they see it. And one of the women, I think there with her daughter, is like, what is going on? Complains, and the SPA and the Los Angeles Times editorial board, they're upset with the woman who complained. They're like, how dare you complain? What kind of bigoted, prejudiced person are you? And I'm putting words in their mouth there, but you get it. Yeah, they get upset. We'll get more into what actually takes place here. Here we go. A man commits full frontal indecent exposure in the presence of a woman and girls, and the Los Angeles Times chides the woman for being upset while defending the man, since after all, he's actually a woman. And women can have male parts as well. I'll state it that way. The article is far more blunt. And and women can have, the parts of a man. Okay, well, that would seem to indicate the person is a man, all right? So again, the woman is the one that everyone gets upset with. That is right. Now, this is how the article says. That is right. Any man can conceive and give birth to babies as well. And I guess they can have their menstrual cycle as well. All right. That's also why we must talk about chest feeding and rather than breastfeeding, since the latter term would offend nursing fathers. Have we lost our minds? Now, you can listen to the woman's personal account. I was going to pull the audio from it and play it, but the woman gives her personal account, and they've got it in quotes. So I'm just going to read it instead of playing it for you. Here's how it reads. I went to the WI Spa, see the same spa where the protests are occurring, where projectiles were thrown, rubber bullets were fired, 12 people were arrested. All right. The article claims that it was a riot. The woman says, I went to the spa in Los Angeles, California, and while I decided to go around the different jacuzzis, I decided to take a nap. After my nap, I got up and I wanted to get water. As I was walking, I noticed something that really was disturbing, something that caused me to feel that I must have been transported into the men's locker room, the men's jacuzzi area. Yeah, a man, a full-on man, fully naked, no clothes, completely exposed, showing his, and there's no way, I'm just going to be blunt here, all right? I'm going to be blunt here. I'm going to read this as it's written, okay? Because this is the woman's testimony, all right? So I'm giving you fair warning, all right? A man, full-on man, no clothes, completely exposed, showing, and I'm just going to read this, all right? So I'm giving you a warning, his testicles and his penis. And slightly, we won't go any further, okay? We won't go any further there. I was appalled at what I saw. This was not normal. Little girls are there. Their mothers are there. Other women are looking about. They begin to put on their robes back on. Put their robes back on. I went to management. Management did nothing. I even told the guy he should leave. This is not right, and he didn't leave. We had no help whatsoever. I did not know what to do. Something has got to be done. This is not fair. It is not right. We as women have rights to be safe in public spaces, and they're being violated by men going into women's spaces, claiming to be women to gain access so they can exercise their perversions. This is not right. We must do something about it. On June the 23rd, I experienced what no woman or little girl should ever experience. I experienced what used to be called flashing or indecent exposure, which would result in a man registering to be a sexual offender for life. Yes, this used to be considered perverse and even illegal, but not today. Today, this is a right, and it must be celebrated. And it is the women and girls who have a problem. They are the ones who are messed up in their thinking. The onus is on them to change. As explained in the Upside Down editorial in the LA Times, and I quote, "As complicated as the opposing beliefs might be, it is clear where the rights in this matter land. Everyone, transgender customers, members of every faith and woman, are upset by the sight of," and then I'm just going to use the word in the LA Times, "penises. All have the right to use the spa and other public accommodations." Indeed, the Times editors opined, with some of the most convoluted thinking imaginable, no one has an absolute right to feel comfortable all the time. People have a right to use the spa, but that doesn't include with it a guarantee that they will feel at ease with everything they see. They might prefer a spa where a certain amount of body covering is required. All right. And then the article goes on, seriously? No one has the right to expect that a biological male, naked and fully exposed, will not come marching into the woman's area? No one has the right to expect that their children will not suffer this kind of sexual and psychological abuse? Seriously? This used to be called indecent exposure. You could go to jail for this, but not today. Today is just a needless, controversy, to quote the exact term used by the Times. We'll get over it soon enough. All right. Yes, the Times editors tell us young people are far more comfortable with the idea of shared space for people of all gender identities and sexes. Absolutely. I'm sure an 8-year-old or 12-year-old or 15-year-old girl sitting naked in the steam room is super comfortable with a 40-year-old naked man sitting down next to them. Of course. To repeat, this is madness. Yet the self-righteous and moral perversion of the LA Times knows no bounds. To quote the closing words of the editorial, in the meantime, customers of public-serving businesses should be prepared to share space with the public in all forms, varieties, and customs. Anti-discrimination laws stand for the principle that all are welcome, whether we are comfortable or not. Tell that to the girls and women who feel violated and abused. Tell that to the people whose rights have been trampled. But no, we can't, because transgender activism trumps all. It trumps morality and decency and honor and common sense. Just say, I'm trans, and everything goes. And what about sexual predators who have used these loopholes to enter ladies' bathrooms and the like? That's too bad, we are told, but the priority is protecting those who identify as transgender. Again, I ask, what kind of madness is this? How and when did we entirely lose our minds? And what about an absolute and ridiculous farce to follow for these abuses to take place under anti-discrimination laws? Talk about legal mumbo jumbo. Talk about turning right into wrong and wrong into right. As for the man who truly believes he's a woman, here's a word of wisdom for you. You do not belong in the women's spa, naked and exposed, even if to the core of your being you believe you're a female. Moreover, no one is making you go there, and your life will not be hurt if you stay out of a place where there are naked women and girls. Let's be realistic here. We are not talking about withholding life-saving treatment or essential medical care from someone who identifies as trans. God forbid. We're talking about biological males not exposing themselves around women and girls. Please get a grip. Sir, male plumbing remains. And if you expose that plumbing in the side of the opposite sex, you should pay the penalty for indecent exposure. The truth is that the spa should be ashamed for defending the man. The members of the public who also support the right should also be ashamed, and the Times should be ashamed. Alas, in today's upside-down world where perversion is celebrated and common decency is degenerated, shame is hard to find, all right? Denigrated. Okay, that's the word. Denigrated. I apologize. Back in 2016, during a debate over transgender access to school bathrooms and locker rooms, the Charlotte Observer infamously opined that girls must try overcoming discomfort of seeing male genitalia in bathrooms. Comment and response, transanity indeed. Is there any other word to describe it? Do we need any further proof that we have lost our corporate minds? I rest my case. And Dr. Michael Brown, who I don't agree with all of his theology, definitely, is the one who wrote that article, and he does a very good job writing that. I know I had to read that through quickly, but you get the basic idea. So let me summarize, all right? So here we go. Here's a spa. It appears there's a women's jacuzzi spa area. A man, he decides he identifies as female. He's obviously not gone through a transition. This is not someone who's transitioned. This is someone who clearly still has, as far as we can tell, I mean, is still male in every way possible, right? Walks in, and the woman is absolutely shocked and appalled and feels uncomfortable. Other women are uncomfortable. People are covering themselves, not doing what to do. This one woman goes and complains and basically says, hey, we can't do anything about this. She goes to the man. The man refused to leave. The editorial, the Los Angeles Times hears about this, and they get upset at the woman. How dare the woman be bothered by this? The woman should just get over it. The woman should just deal with it. Just deal with it. If your daughter's there, just get used to it. Now, I always try my best to understand every side. I try my best to be understanding. I try my best, but this is just where it reaches a level of absolute insanity. Absolutely insanity. I've said before, everyone arguing about bathrooms, I don't pay attention who's in the bathroom. If someone identifies as a woman and walks into the, or someone a woman identifies as a male, walks into the men's bathroom, I really don't know if I'm going to even notice. I don't pay any attention. I don't look to see who's in the stalls. I definitely don't look to see who's standing next to me at the urinal. I'm looking over at the person. No, I just go into the bathroom, do what I need to do, wash my hands, and leave. Okay, so it's the bathroom thing. I think we turn that into a lot more. I know there's always these claims, well, if you do this in the bathrooms, then there can be people sexually assaulted. Well, you can go look at a lot of the facts there that in many cases, the pedophile who's going after, say, a little boy, it's usually a male pedophile going after a little boy. That's still going to happen no matter if you have transgender or no transgender. So the bathroom thing, I'm like, look, people go, there's stalls, there's urinals, people are doing their business. Nobody is looking at each other. No one's exposing themselves. No one is trying to say, hey, look at me, because you don't really do that in a bathroom, public bathroom. But when you cross that over into locker rooms, spas, places where you will see people exposing themselves, then the situation gets a lot more complicated and a lot crazier. And this is just insane. It's just insane. Now, and it just demonstrates, like, clearly the person is, again, if the person's transitioned, had surgical procedure, and no longer looks like a male, we can have that discussion, but this is clearly just a man who just walks in and is looking at all the women without clothes on, I guess. I don't know what he's doing. And he was, I'm trying to be very careful. Let's just say he was, how can I say it? His physical, his body demonstrated at least some partial maybe enjoyment of what he was seeing. Is that a fair way of trying to say this as nice as I can? The article's a little bit more explicit. But the woman is the bad person in the story. So now there's riots happening in front, or protest and fighting happening in front of the spa. Now let's go back to the spa article. I'm trying to be careful how I say these things, okay? Let's go back to the spa article. Dueling pro and anti, and I may have read this incorrectly the first time, dueling pro and anti-transgender rights protest outside a Los Angeles spa turned violent Saturday, resulting in projectiles thrown, cops firing rubber bullets, and more than a dozen arrests, according to a report. So you've got pro-transgender rights and anti-transgender rights. Now, again, when you say anti-transgender rights, am I anti-transgender rights if I don't want a man exposing himself to females and young girls? Does that make me anti-transgender? Yeah, I don't know. So the WI Spa in Koreatown also has been the site of clashes earlier this month during protest over a viral video that appeared to show a customer complaining that a transgender woman had exposed herself in front of children. Now, just please note how that article is written. So it's a transgender woman exposing herself. It may be a person claiming to be transgender, but clearly he was exposing himself because he exposed male genitalia. It wasn't exposing herself. It was exposing himself because he clearly has male physical attributes, male physical parts. So even the article, that just sounds, so this transgender woman exposed herself. Okay, wasn't exposing the body of a female, was exposing the body of a male. On Saturday morning, LGBTQ activists assembled in front of the spa to counter demonstrators who had gathered there to oppose transgender people patronizing the business. Now, were they there? Now, and again, I would have to read this. Were they saying, you cannot come to this business? Or were they saying, if you come to this business and you have male parts, then you go to the male area. And if you have female parts, you go to the female area. Were they saying that you could not patronize the business? That's the article. That's how they report it. Those protesting the spa's policy waved signs saying, save our children and stop defending pedos, the reporter said. Okay. Now, again, I don't know if anyone is defending pedophiles. Now, again, sometimes when people show up these protests, their signs do not help their cause. Okay. Save our children and basically stop defending, pedophiles. Let's just stick with what happened and go there. An unlawful assembly was declared by police after members of the crowd threw projectiles, including some that were aimed at cops, according to the reports. Footage posted to social media showed police in riot gear shooting beanbags and rubber bullets at demonstrators. Most people did leave the area, but currently there are a number of arrests made for failure to disperse. The LAPD detective Megan Aguilar told the newspaper, which reported that no one was injured. So no one was injured. That's good. A reporter for The Guardian who was covering the protest said that she was attacked by demonstrators that were screaming about Jesus. Now let's not hope that happened, please. Okay, now Christians, have we lost our minds? Everyone's lost their minds. Hey, I'm going to come out here and scream about Jesus while I attack a reporter. Now let's hope the story is not true. But if you're a Christian, we don't attack people. That's not the way we do things. So sometimes I think we've all lost our minds. I think many in the Christian world have lost their minds. Many people in the world have lost their minds. I think the whole situation is bad. They go on to say, just got thrown to the ground. This is what the reporter, I guess from The Guardian, tweeted out. Just got thrown down to the ground by right-wing anti-pedophile protesters as a crowd converged on me and chased me. Now, again, so anti-pedophile protesters, hey, these bad people were protesting against pedophilia. I think we would all support anti-pedophile protesters. But if you've just got thrown to the ground, then okay. And I hate that right wing. I hate that. Listen, as a Christian, I believe certain things. Do not call me right wing. Do not call me right wing. Do not call me Republican. Do not call me conservative. I want to be known for a follower of Christ. I don't want to be known with any label that's connected to political ideology at all. Christians, don't allow yourself to be identified that way. And don't attack a reporter. The dueling demonstrations seem to have been spurred by the same June the 24th Instagram video that sparked the violent protest outside the spa on July the 3rd. Now, here's in quotes, and this, I guess, comes from the video. He's a man, an irate woman told the staff in the clip. He's not a female. There are girls down there, other women who are highly offended by what they just saw, and you did nothing. You sided with him. Questions have since been raised about the veracity of the clip, according to the Los Angeles Times. A local LGBT, according to the Los Angeles Blade, not the Los Angeles Times, the Los Angeles Blade, which is a local LGBT newspaper. So now some are claiming the clip may not be real or may not be true. We'll have to see here. Law enforcement sources told the outlet they were not able to find evidence to confirm that a transgender person had indeed been present at the business that day, leading to concerns the video was staged. I am recording this because I'm going to make a big deal. I'm going to take this worldwide, the complaining woman in the video is heard promising. The spa defending its practices in a statement to Los Angeles Magazine. Like many other metropolitan areas, Los Angeles contains a transgender population, some of whom enjoy visiting the spa, the statement said. WI Spa strives to meet the needs of its customers. So we do need to be prepared that maybe, and again, that's why I went to different sources. I didn't just rely on the Christian source. According to this, they don't know if it's true. Now, I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not true, but let's just say, put it this way. The spa, even if it's not true, the spa is saying, well, it's not true because we would never let this happen. The spa is defending that if a man did walk in there fully exposing himself to women, that it would be perfectly okay. So even if it's not true, the spa is saying that it could happen and we would be okay with it. We wouldn't do anything about it because, after all, the man, even though he has the male parts, claims to be a woman, then why would we keep him out of a women's area where he can fully expose himself and he can see other women exposed? I mean, why would we, in any way, shape, or form want to stop that? I mean, what kind of world do you think we live in? I mean, this is 2021. A man can be a woman. A man can be a woman, even though he's not done anything to change himself physically. He can still be a woman just by declaring himself to be so. What is going on? And then protest happened, and it sounds like people screaming about Jesus attacks a reporter and throws him to the ground. You see, now here's the thing. That doesn't help the Christian perspective either. The whole situation is crazy. Now, we'll see if more information comes forth and see if we can prove the veracity of this event or disprove it. It may be disproven, but I want to make it very clear, even if it's disproven, the SPA and their official statement was saying, hey, we're not going to change any policies. So in other words, even if it didn't happen, it could happen tomorrow, and we will defend it. I don't know where you go with this. I don't know where's the end game here. I mean, basically, here's the end. I know, you know what? I'm gonna state this because I think we can agree with this. Here's the end game. The end game is this. Someone else's reality now has to be your reality. If you reject and forget just now it doesn't even matter about the existence of reality. It doesn't even matter what truth is. It doesn't matter if I take that individual and we do a genetic test and I can say, well, genetically you're a male, you're a female. That's what you are. Okay. And you clearly still have the biological parts that demonstrates that's what you are. So therefore you have to be treated. You're going to have to go in these areas that are designated for men until you do something different. That reality is irrelevant now. Here's how it works. And this is very important. Some people's reality now trumps your idea of reality. Your idea of reality, there's only a male and a female. Their reality is there's more than just a male and female. And then I can be whatever I want to be. And whatever I want to be, you have to accept. So we can't make the transgender people feel uncomfortable, but the transgender people can make us feel uncomfortable, and that's perfectly okay. So it's wrong to make them feel uncomfortable, but we can be made to feel uncomfortable. So whose rights trumps whose? Whose rights are more right? You see, this becomes a very slippery slope, or not even I don't want to use a slippery slope argument because I know it's actually a logical fallacy. Let me state it this way. It becomes this wishy-washy world of moral relativism, but it goes beyond moral relativism because their morality becomes the morality in which I have to live. They don't have to live according to mine. I have to live according to theirs. And that's the way it always works. That's why relativism was always going to be a temporary philosophical. It was only temporarily that relativism was going to operate, because at some point, someone's morality always becomes the dominant way in which the world operates. The relativism that you're right and I'm right only lasts for a brief period of time. And then someone will say, no, not only is my morality right, it's now your morality that you have to operate with. Relativism was always going to be temporary, and now we've moved out of relativism, and it's now, no, my reality, my morality, you go along with it. And if you don't like it, then you're the bigot, you're the problem. Now, I hope that what happened in one side, in one way, I hope that what happened actually happened. that it's true, because I would hate that a woman made it up and now there's violence and people are, no one's been injured yet. But I don't want to see property damage. I don't want to see people hurt over a lie. If it actually happened, then I'm glad she recorded her doing that and that she's making it public, and hopefully that it will make us all pause and go, where are we headed as a culture? Where does this end? I don't know. It made me think of this. You may agree, you may disagree, but it made me think of this because I think it's very important. All right. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 11. You probably know this verse. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 11. It made me this verse just came to my mind. And I know that there's we could get into the eschatology here and we can get into a timeline of when this will occur, but it just made me think of this verse. 2 Thessalonians 2:11. And for this cause, God shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie. Now, I'm not saying that is actually taking place right now, but it is crazy to watch a world where a man walks into an area where there are women, obviously women maybe without their robes on, exposed. He walks in exposing himself, seemingly, at least to some level, seeming to be enjoying what he's seeing. It sounds that way, if the report is true. A woman sees all of it going, what in the world is going on? Women are feeling uncomfortable. They're putting on their robes. They don't know what to do. They feel uncomfortable. They're moving around. I guess maybe many leave. I don't know, depending on the accuracy of the report. The woman complains to the spa owners and they're like, nothing we can do. She tells the man to leave. He doesn't. A video goes viral. The Los Angeles Times is like, hey, lady, get over it. You're the problem. Get over it. And again, just imagine you're in an area like that where people are exposed. A man comes walking in and there's a 14-year-old girl or a 15-year-old girl and a nude man sits down next to her. I mean, come on now. I mean, this is not even about transgender. This is just about, you gotta have some way to operate the world. I mean, you gotta be able to operate. Now, yeah, I mean, there's got to be some way of thinking here. Now, I know the pro-transgender people are going to get mad at me. Look, I'm willing to listen to your situation. I mean this. Like someone who is transgender, I'm willing to listen to you. I'm willing to try to understand what you're going through. You don't feel like, you were born a male, you're born a female. You don't feel like that's who you are. You're going through a transition process. Maybe you're having surgical procedures. You're taking hormones, hormone blockers, whatever you're doing. Okay, you're going through this. I can't even understand what you're going through. I truly want to understand. I truly want to show compassion and love, but you have to see it. Then you have to at least try to see our side. All right? If you have if there's a young girl, do you want a man just coming in and exposing himself? If you have a daughter, do you want that? Is that the world in which we live? Now, I know some will argue, maybe in other countries, that many believe that Americans are very puritanical, very, after the Puritans when it comes to nudity, that we're very puritanical in our way of thinking, and that we need to loosen up and just accept nudity as no big deal, and that we should have nude beaches everywhere, and everyone should just walk around exposing themselves, and it should not matter. Okay, but if you go to a nude beach, there's agreement. Isn't there agreement that everyone knows that we're going to a nude beach? So maybe spa should do a better job just advertising right from the start that this is basically a nude spa and that everyone is welcome everywhere, that anybody can walk in any area without clothes. And then you just know. And couldn't there be spas that say, okay, we're going to restrict the nudity to the female area for females and the male area for males, right? Could you not do that? And then let the free market decide, right? Now, I know what people are going to say. Well, wait a minute. Now you're going back to you would be supporting the segregation of races. I'm going to continue to argue that there is that racism someone, and I know we're getting ready to get into an argument here, but I'm going to at least go here. I know someone's going to say, well, wait a minute. That person was born black. That person was born transgender. That person was born with physical traits one way, but they don't feel that way. Here's the thing. I don't know what someone feels. I don't know what's going on in anybody. Rules, I will say rules are never perfect, right? There are never any perfect rules. But I can say this. If you have the physical parts of a male, then you should be restricted to the male area. And if you have the parts of a female, you should be restricted to the female area. Now, if you go through a transition and have surgical work done, that's a whole, we can have that talk. We can have that. So I think who's going to be, and why try to fight that, right? Because now and again, I don't know your genetic makeup anyway. I don't know your genetic makeup. I know transgender, that they were female, transitioned to a guy. And I don't know without clothes, but I can say with clothes, they look like a guy. All right. There's everything about it looks like a guy. So, how does that, how do we work that? I'm willing, I think we should be willing to, I'm willing to have conversations. I'm willing to listen to other people's struggles to try to understand it. But if this story is true, it's just so blatant. It's just so over the top blatant. Okay, there's the female spa jacuzzi area. I'm just going to walk in there with no clothes on. Just boom. And not care about anybody else's feelings. Now, again, we're supposed to care about according to, I guess, the New York Post, her feelings, because I guess it's not even, we can't even refer to the person as a male, her feelings, but what about everyone else's feelings? So it's a crazy story. If you hear about the protest in front of that spa, that's what's going on. Now, and let me make it very clear. I'll say this to end. We do need to find out what the truth is, right? Hey, if the story is fraudulent and fake, then everyone needs to know so we can stop protesting. Let me make it very clear. As Christians, you cannot attack people, can't scream at people. If you're going to hold up signs, make sure your signs are at least some kind of deal with the actual issue. Save our daughters, save them from pedophiles. We'll slow down. Okay. Again, look at pedophilia. Look at how it, when young children are sexually molested, how it typically works. Is it transgenders committing those crimes, or is it a male, right? A male going after an actual male boy, right? Or, you look at how that all works. And we just got to be accurate and fair in what we're claiming. If we're going to claim something, we need to have facts to back up what we're claiming, okay? If you look at the sexual assault and sexual crimes, how many are committed by transgender and how many are committed by other people? Now you have to take into consideration how many transgenders there are versus the other part of the population. I understand that. You can play games with statistics, but I'm saying we just want to make sure, the issue is that's a man and he comes walking into a women's area. Now, of course, there's one easy way to stop it. Instead of yelling and screaming in front of the spa, you can just simply contact in a very nice, calm way going, hey, if this story is true and you're just going to let a man walk into the female area, then my family or the wife or, a female could contact them and say, look, I'm not going to be there anymore and I'm not bringing my daughter and we're not going to be doing business with your spa. It's your right to do whatever you want with your spa. That's your right. It's also my right not to go back and give you any money and support your business. And hopefully you will succeed. But if you don't, you know why some people have stopped coming. And that's an easy way to do so, because the business can do whatever they want. I support the right of businesses. Businesses should have some rights. I support that. But it's just so crazy. When I heard the story, I was just like, this is so insane. This is not a bathroom issue. This goes well beyond. And that's what going all the way back to the original bathroom arguments. I always said, okay, the bathroom, okay, I'm willing to hear this one out. But once they mentioned locker rooms, areas, then I was like, whoa, now what's going on here? What's going on here? Now, showers, So you're, I guess if you're in high school and you have to take showers after, recess or whatever. And so now here's a 15-year-old boy can just walk over into the girls' locker room, and take a shower with them. Okay. Yeah, I think these are the issues we're going to have to think through. And it seems that we've lost our minds in the sense that you cannot even have rational, thoughtful conversations about these issues. And I'm willing to listen to the plight of someone who's transgender and how they may be treated, because look, by all means, I'm going to take a biblical stand for what I believe is right and wrong. But at the same time, I do want to demonstrate love and respect to a person who's created in the image of God and try to understand their struggles, and at the same time, try to present to them a biblical worldview about reality and hopefully help them. But this doesn't sound like the transgender was mistreated. This sounds like, what about the people who are not transgender? How can we work together in this situation within the culture? Now, within the church, I still got to preach that I believe God created us male and female. I believe your genetics tell you if you're male and female. And if you don't feel like what you are genetically, I can't understand that. I'm willing to I'll be respectful to you, and I'm willing to listen, but I'm not going to change my view of reality, right? If the genetics say that you're a male, then I'm going to believe you're a male. If you go through a transition and you want me to use a different pronoun, I'm willing to at least try to be respectful, because the issue with us is not pronoun usage. The issue here is deeper issues. And I want to get to the deeper issues and not just fight over pronoun usage. But this is a crazy story. It is a crazy story. Again, I don't know how much is true, but we'll find out. So there you have it. You can go to the Christian Post. You may have to, in fact, I'll help you find the articles that if you're interested, because I want you to do your own thinking on it, your own research, and give me your thoughts. By all means, send them to me, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. All right, the first one you'll have to type in: radical transgender activism is proof positive that we have lost our corporate minds. I know that's a mouthful. Radical transgender activism is proof positive that we have lost our corporate minds. That's the article from the Christian Post. You may just be able to type in Michael Brown, and look for his most recent articles. Again, this was published on July the 15th. All right. The other one, I believe, let me see here. I could be wrong. If you go to drudgereport.com, go to drudgereport.com. Right there, it looks like the gay pride flag. That's what it looks like. And then right under it, it says, riot police break up dueling trans protest outside LA spa. So there you have it. You can find it right there, drudgereport.com. You can find it right there. And, okay. And I'm just looking to see if there's any other information here. It says Proud Boys and Antifa clash. Is that in front of that spa? Give me a second here. Yeah. So the Proud Boys and Antifa were outside the spa fighting. And that's the evidence of the culture war and fighting. Again, as Christians, it sounds like here that police recovered stun guns, knives, pepper spray. This article also says there's suspicion that the whole thing could have been staged. So we'll find out if the woman staged it. The woman needs to be exposed, and everyone needs to know what she did, and there needs to be consequences, because you can't go in there staging something like this and sparking World War III. So maybe it did not happen, but again, let me make it very clear. Even if it did not happen, the spa did not say, well, it couldn't happen. The spa is acknowledging it could. It could. So there you have it. All right. I wanted to at least bring this to everyone's attention. I'm looking at the video of oh man, that person just got shot by the police with one of those beanbag guns. He dropped quickly. That person went right to the ground. And I see here, I'm looking, there's people fighting. It just looks like complete chaos. Yeah, the police have got riot gear and their batons and they're grabbing people. Looks like just absolutely craziness. So if it did not really happen, then that's going to be very irritating. Michael Brown in his article, he did not see, this is sometimes, there's another reason sometimes I wait to respond to some things because I want to know both sides. Michael Brown responded, and when he responded, I don't know if there was even any suspicion that it wasn't true. So hopefully he comes back, and because if it's not true, we don't want to look foolish. So there you have it. But if it is true, we've lost our minds. And again, I think we've lost our minds on both sides. I think many Christians have lost their minds and how they react to some of these issues. And I think the world has lost its absolute mind. And when everyone is losing their minds, we need Christians who, we still have control of our minds and we can think logically, biblically, carefully, rationally. We can engage in actual conversations, trying to understand and trying to figure out how we move forward. Look, here's the one, I want to make it very clear. I'm a Christian, but I do not want to impose Christianity upon a lost world. I am not one for some, trying to want some theocratic form of government. I don't want to try to make, quote unquote, a Christian nation. I want a Christian nation this way. I present the gospel to people. They get saved. They become a Christian. There's another Christian who thinks biblically and acts biblically and lives biblically to the best of their ability, not perfectly. Then the nation becomes more and more Christian. I want the nation to become Christian through conversion, not through force, not through law, and not trying to impose some kind of Christian, almost like the idea of a Christian Sharia law upon a lost world. I don't want that. So I understand that I've got to live in a world with people who have different beliefs, different ideas, and we have to learn to live together even though we disagree. I like the freedom of religion. I want people to have the freedom to worship whatever they want or not worship. And I do as much as I can to support people's freedom to do many things, right? Because they're non-Christians. So if they want to engage in certain behavior, I'm going to call it a sin, but they can have the freedom to do so as I can have the freedom not to, right? But when it comes to, there also has to be some level of thoughtfulness on how we cooperate with one another in a culture where you think you're a woman, clearly you're a man. Now, how do we operate this in a way that's fair to everyone? And that's something without denying, basic reality. Yeah, we've got to deal with that as well. But there you have it. It's an interesting set of circumstances that's still developing. And if more information comes out, if it was staged, I want to know who staged it, why they staged it, and were they just simply trying to create this kind of controversy. All right. But remember, the spa itself basically was like, we can't do anything about it. So they're arguing that it would be perfectly okay for that to happen. So it still brings the possibility of this to light. Why hasn't it happened before? Did it happen before and all the women did not care? Maybe we've reached a point where the women don't even care. Yeah, come on in. We don't care. Oh, my 14-year-old daughter sitting over there. Sit next to her. I don't care. Maybe we've reached that point. I don't know. All right. You can email me, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. Thanks for listening. Everyone have a great day. God bless.